If you've clicked on this video, that's because there's some part of you that's struggling with motivation. In this video, we're going to be talking about dopamine, the molecule of more, and how this affects our motivation, drive, and movement. I'm going to meet you inside this video. What's going on, people? This is where you want to be. Welcome to Spiritual Needs TV. I apologize for my absence, guys. You know how life gets sometimes, but do you want to know what? I am feeling better, ready, and more driven than ever, man. Listen, in this video, we're going to be talking about dopamine and how the level of dopamine that is running around one's body at one specific time determines how you feel, how driven you are, how motivated you are, and how much you want to move. Now, for anyone that don't know what dopamine is, it's a chemical that's produced in the brain, and you probably would refer to it as the pleasure feeling, the joyful feeling you get when one may consume chocolate. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel that pleasure feeling. So that's what typically dopamine is. We as humans have a baseline, okay? So just imagine we've got a baseline of dopamine that is circulating around one's body at one specific time. Now, this can be affected by almost anything and everything, and I am not kidding you. What can trigger dopamine? Chocolate, drugs, sex, music, dancing, almost anything can trigger dopamine. So it's our job to monetize the amount of dopamine we are releasing throughout the day. So as I said before, we have a baseline of dopamine. Okay, so this is how much dopamine is circulating around our body at one point. As we go about our day, right, and we, might log into Facebook or Instagram, it spikes up and it comes back down. We eat a bit of chocolate, it spikes up and it comes back down. We go out dancing, we listen to music we really like, it spikes up and it comes back down. But eventually, guys, when it spikes up to a certain height, to a certain peak, it doesn't just drop back down to baseline. It drops below baseline, okay? And this is where we feel that lack of motivation, that lack of drive, that lack of movement. It's because our baseline of dopamine has gone below baseline and there's not enough dopamine to circulate around the body now. Now, humans have a pool of dopamine at one time, which needs to be ready to be deployed. So, for instance, if you've gone out on a night out and, you've dibble-dabbled in certain chemical substances like cocaine or amphetamines, marijuana, whatever it is, your baseline of dopamine is going to peak. And if it's amphetamines or anything like that, it's going to peak tenfold. The amount of dopamine circulating through your system now is 10 times. Eventually, that peak of dopamine is going to decrease and decline, but it's not going to decline back down to baseline. Where's it going to go? It's going to go below baseline. So now we experience this as a come down. This is literally what we call a come down. It's the experience of the peaks in dopamine and then the dopamine levels dropping below baseline. That's essentially what a come down is. Now, the feelings that we feel after the baseline has dropped from dopamine, there's a hormone that is released into the body which is called prolactin. Now, this is when we feel depressed, down, lethargic. We don't feel like we want to move. Prolactin is now circulating around our body, okay? Because we have dropped below baseline, and this is an automatic response that the human body does. Now, we could talk about prolactin, but I'm going to save that for another video because we can talk about that all day long. So I'm just going to keep this video short and sweet, just so you lot can understand that dopamine is responsible for your drive, motivation, and how driven you are throughout the day. So now you know what triggers dopamine: drugs, sex, alcohol, music. Throughout the day, you can determine whether you are allowing your dopamine levels to spike unconsciously. Just look at dopamine as a currency, okay? It's a universal currency. And dopamine wants you to seek something outside of yourself. It wants you to accomplish something. It wants to experience more of itself, okay? Dopamine is the more molecule, meaning all dopamine wants to do, once released, is seek more of itself to bring that pleasure feeling. But dopamine is like a double-edged blade, okay? Because once you go up, remember, you have that peak and then it drops below baseline. So there's some pain that comes with going out and enjoying ourselves. And this is what this video is all about. It's about balancing that dopamine release. So really be aware of how much dopamine currency you are allowing yourself throughout the day, because this can well certainly determine how motivated, how driven, and how much movement you actually want to do throughout your day. So if you've liked this video, guys, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. I have missed you lot so much. Peace.